am a very bad knitfluencer. These were very fun and almost like a... Hi internet, it's Erica again. I hope you've been feeling okay. I wanted to say hi and thank you for all of the love on my previous video. It was really fun to make. I'm really grateful for all of the love and the beautiful comments. So thank you again. I'm coming to you today since I have a finished object and I thought, why don't I film like a podcast slash everything I've knit in this year, kind of, but not really, since this is not everything I've knit this year, but everything that I have been wearing and I haven't frogged or gifted. There's quite a few things that I haven't talked about in like podcasts or anything, since, you know, I was very busy and I didn't really update the channel, the podcast, or even my Instagram. And I also, there was this like cursed episode that I filmed and I hated, and I erased all of the footage, so I don't know. Well, standard procedure, what I'm wearing is the Ingrid sweater by Petite in Dark Omen Yarn Dynasty in the colorway Necromancy. I've knit this in the spring last year, and I can tell you that this is very, very warm and luxurious and nice to wear. It hasn't peeled a lot. There was just some peeling in this area, and that I did shave it a little bit. Overall, I think this is very nice to wear, and it's a beautiful yarn to work with. Definitely it is a little bit pricey, but it's merino and yak and it's hand dyed, so you know it's definitely like a bit of a splurge, but I don't know, I thought it was very special. So jumping on to my first finished project of the year, and I did talk quite in depth about this in my first proper podcast, so I don't think I'm gonna repeat myself that much, but I am gonna update you regarding the wear that it has, because I did wear this a lot. This is quite horrible to show, but this is the Levitate wrap by My Favorite Things Knitwear. It's quite a popular design. I think wrap cardigans were really in, I think, last year. I've knit this in quite a different yarn that was suggested in the pattern, but you know me, I'm a little bit of a fuck the system, you can tell me what to do. Not really. Only regarding my knitting. Anyway, I've knit this in a size, I think, L in Ligne du Nord alpaca brushed, which is a mainly alpaca wool and polyamide blend. And this is those sorts of brushed alpaca yarns that are very fluffy. I think the suggested needle size for this one was like 7 or 8 even, but I've knit this in with like a 6mm needles, and honestly I really like the density of this fabric, so I would suggest this for a garment. I think like a 7 or 8 would be way too airy, but that of course depends on your gauge. My gauge is quite loose, so I usually have to use smaller needles than suggested. I think it was quite enjoyable and fast to knit. I really like this feature of the knot that it's on the front and the snap button. So it's a wrap cardigan, but instead of like having to wrap everything, you just snap it and close it. And it is has, I would say, pros and cons in the sense that it's less customizable, the width, on like a daily basis, but I think it's much easier to wear. There isn't as much tension on the ties as you would with a traditional wrap cardigan, and also I think it's easier to put on and close if you have like mobility issues, since everything is, you have to just tie it on the front and you don't have to like wriggle yourself. In terms of wear, it hasn't been, I think, showing anywhere at all around. I think maybe except here on the cuffs, it's almost got it a little bit more dense, all of the fluff. I think it's perfect. You can see there's quite a bit of fluff, but no pills whatsoever. The finished result is very fluffy and cozy and comforting and very, very warm. I think one con of this design, the body is very, very boxy, so even if it weren't this fluffy and airy, I would still have quite a few issues on fit it under a coat. So this to me is a very loungewear, working from home, cozy garment, which is exactly what I wanted this to be. So 10 out of 10 for me. Moving on to the next item. You've already seen this in my last video. The incredibly beautiful Shawlography by Stephen West. Look at this, how beautiful is this? I've knit this like between January and February. It went, yeah, this one went pretty fast. I would have finished it in 4 weeks, but at a certain point in the brioche section, my hands were starting to ache quite a bit, so I actually stopped for I think a week. If I weren't so like sensitive and concerned about the health of my hands, I would probably finish it in 4 weeks. But honestly, I just knit this for my enjoyment and not for any challenges or whatsoever. I've always loved the look of Shawlography, and honestly, it came out so beautiful. I'm so happy with this, and it was so fun and engaging and beautiful to knit. I think because there are so many different sections and all of them have like different stitches, that you never get bored of it. Also, all of the color combinations. I'm gonna get a little bit closer so you can see. Okay, so I don't know if you're familiar with the construction of this shawl. You start from here, then you knit all of the wedges from here, then you pick up stitches, and then you knit like a semicircle with all of these different stitches, and then you have these wedges that widen the shape of the shawl, brioche, these zigzags, crisscross stitches, and then you have this applied striped border that goes all around. It's definitely a very big shawl, and it's designed to use 5 colors, but I've seen a beautiful examples just in white, so definitely have fun and use all of your favorite colors, or your favorite color, just one of them. The yarn that I used, going from light to dark, this lightest one I got from Truro Wool. I can't remember on the top of my head the name of the dyer, but the colorway is called Vert, and it's an absolutely beautiful creamy white with these rainbow speckles. And this pink over here that is, sometimes you see a little bit of a lavender. It's this color over here, and it's Alpaquina by Concept by Katia in this like light pink. And sometimes when it's next to this color, this lighter color, to create a little bit more contrast, I held it with Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair in the shade Artichoke Purple. So just to give a little bit of a different texture and shade to create some more contrast. This is Life in the Long Grass Singles in the colorway Succulent. This beautiful like minty color with some yellow, and you have some like also blue speckles. Very, very beautiful. This gold is again another colorway of this Alpaquina by by Katia. It's a sock yarn with some alpaca in it, and it's absolutely beautiful and soft and gorgeous and majestic. And this, last but not least, is Hedgehog Fiber sock yarn in the shade colorway Renaissance, which is just majestic jewel tones, beautiful. And just look at this pastel goodness. I don't know, I absolutely love this, and I am so proud that I was able to knit this. And it's actually, it's not as hard as it may seem, because of course it has all of these beautiful stitches and fun textures. It's really fun engaging with all of these like colors mixing together. If you've been thinking about knitting this, I absolutely encourage you to do so. It's beautiful. What can I say? Next, making the year is the ONT by Jessie Maed Design. I've knit this in a yarn that I bought at Campolmi Filati, their shop in Florence, and this is linen and cotton blend. Held this double on 5mm needles, and I don't know if you can see, the yarn has a little bit of a thin rustic texture. I thought this worked incredibly well with these drop stitches. It's a little weird talking about this project in particular, because I don't really remember that many details about this project. I knew I was off gauge. I was holding this yarn double, and also my gauge is also my knitting is pretty loose. This was designed, I think, for 3.75mm needles, I see, but I think I used 4mm needles. Since I knew I was using a little bit of a thicker yarn, my gauge is quite loose. I remember I knit I think the smallest size, or the second to smallest, which is not usually something that happens with me, since I'm a reasonably busty lady. Even though I didn't really gauge swatch, it ended up fitting quite great, but do as I say and not as I do. So knit a gauge swatch. You never know what you end up with. I don't know if you're familiar with this design. It's a very, very simple t-shirt design. It goes from the bottom up in the round. At this point, you split the front and the back, and you knit them separately, and when you join them back with a 3-needle bind off, you actually drop all of the stitches to create this very fun open texture. It was a very quick and fun knit. I absolutely love the finished product. I worn this so much during the summer. This fabric is very breathable. I remember one day, you know, it was very hot and I was wearing this. I was feeling almost a little bit uncomfortable. It's so breathable and light that you almost feel like you're not wearing anything. So I was like, I don't know, have I just forgotten to wear a shirt and I'm just going around in my bra? No, you are wearing this shirt, but you're absolutely not feeling any of it. The color is stunning, and I bought this in February, I remember. I've knit this and it was ready for my Brat summer. And I never thought I would have like this types of color on myself, but I don't know, I think it suits me quite well. Yeah, this one was an absolute gem. I would also actually really recommend this yarn if you like this a little bit more thick, thin textures. And when it comes to wear, I think since cotton usually doesn't wear super well, it pills, Since there's quite a bit of linen as well, it adds a little strength. I worn a lot, even like, I would say even once a week. I washed it many times, 10 out of 10 when it comes to both the pattern, the actual finished garment, and I would like to make something else with this yarn. Next, I've spoke about this pattern in my last Everything I Made video, so I'm not gonna rehash it that much, but you knew this was coming. And this is the white top by Knitting for Olive. This one I've knitted with Dererum Natura Antigone in the shade Jardin, which is the incredibly beautiful like grass green, and I don't know, it's actually a little bit more vibrant than it looks here on camera. You see almost like the sheen that it has. You know, I love this pattern to death. I think it's very beautiful and smart and follows your body shape, even if you're using plant fiber that doesn't have any stitch memory, it just hangs a little bit. I think it's just beautiful. I worn this one a lot in the summer as well. This is 100% organic linen from France. It has a little bit more of a weight. Well, this is like feather light. This one has, I wouldn't use it for very, very big garments. And you see the flow that this has. Well, this is a little bit more stiff. The Rerum Natura Antigone is a little bit thicker of fingering weight yarn compared to Knitting for Olive pure silk. So what I did, knowing that my gauge is quite loose, I've knit this on 2.5 millimeter needles to ensure its stability. I didn't want it to be too loose, so I would be a little bit mindful to knit this at a little bit more of a tighter gauge, since linen tends to like relax and lose its shape quite a bit. You can see the stitch definition of this thing. It's absolutely beautiful. I would love to knit more with this yarn in the future because there are some incredibly juicy, shiny colors. Was it worth it? As you know, Antigone is a quite expensive yarn. To me, absolutely. I've worn this a lot and I know this is gonna last for a number of years since it's so strong and at a tight gauge. It was definitely hard on my hands and on my psyche, but I don't know, every time I look at this, I don't know, I think it was worth it. During the spring and summer, I did work on quite a few small projects that I ended up gifting or even frogging. But there are a few that I wanted to highlight, and first of all, this is the OhBoy hat by Katrin Schubert, and this is a free pattern on Ravelry for a brioche beanie. This one is designed to have like a 2-color fade brioche, and I don't know, it doesn't really fit with my hair today. I thought it was very fun, quick to knit. You use very little yarn, so you can use scraps of 2 colors or even 4, 5, 8, whatever you might fancy. It comes in 3 sizes, and now I just read on Ravelry that Knitwear is coming, a cute brioche beanie with no brim. I really like this very geometric fade of the colors. I think it looks beautiful in like this black and white. These were 2 random balls of yarn that I adopted when I went to Cornwall last year. They're Bluefist Leicester from Wool in It, and this one is like a marled taupe and black, and this is the white, and it's very plush and beautiful. I've knit this in the like middle size, but this one is a little big for me. I've said it in the past that my head is not that big, so brioche stretches quite a lot, so I would say if you're in doubt, size down. It might seem a little bit counterintuitive, but one very notable thing that I've knit this summer are colorwork mitts. I was totally inspired by Florence, by Handmade by Florence, and all of the beautiful mittens that she's knit in the last few years. Since this was my first time doing both mitts and color work, I thought I would just try and find a free pattern. These are the Angkas mittens by Therese Lundberg. These are finger and weight color work mitts. I think they feature a quite classic but very intricate design. And to knit this, I've used the gray is Regia sock yarn, the black is Knitting for Olive merino, that I had some leftovers. And I think for this being my first ever colorwork project, I think I crushed this. What do you think? I did catch the floats, and I don't know, I think the tension is really nice. There are, I think, a few mistakes here and there, but I don't really care. I've knit this because I wanted to have some colorwork mitts to wear to Iceland. Yeah, now you can see the inside of it. I thought this was very fun and meditative knit. Contrary to, I think, most of the other knitting projects that I work on, that I usually knit on the sofa just watching TV, for this one I just prefer to be on the tables with my elbows rested, and I did do two-handed stranded color work. As I said, this was my first ever color work project, but honestly I had no issues following it. It comes only in one size, and one thing that I have to say is that they're quite big for me, and even now that I have much longer nails, I don't know, there's still quite a bit of empty fabric on the top, but my hands are not big. And one thing that I'm not huge fan of is that you can see that this design here is like cut off. I would have preferred for this like squiggle over here to be complete. You can see, I think, especially when you have the main color is your darkest color, you can see that this is like interrupted at this area. Would I knit more colorwork mittens? Absolutely. This one you've already seen on the channel. This is the Aniela hat by Vert and Rose. I've knit this in Ligne du Nord tweed and some drops Puna. This is a beautiful colorwork brioche beanie, completely reversible. Uses very little yarn, so definitely great for scraps. Gift knits, I would give this to someone that is a little bit more special, since I don't know, it's brioche, it takes a little longer to knit. Absolutely, I would recommend knitting this. Regarding the yarn combination, it's very soft and plush, of course, because it's brioche. Quite high percentage of alpaca makes this very, very warm in these winter days, and I would definitely knit another one of these, maybe to, I don't know, gift or just enjoy for myself. Now for the last project of the year. I've mentioned this already. Since my latest podcast, I cast on and finished this sweater already, so I think this gives you like quite a nice idea of how addicting this pattern is. So this is my Sycamore sweater by Petite. I've bought this pattern I think just after it came out, because I was really impressed by this organic striping colorway. I'm not a huge fan of stripes, just personal opinion, but I held up knitting on this mostly because I hadn't decided on what yarn combination to use. As I've said in my huge haul this summer, I fell madly in love with this Let Lopi colorway that I bought in Iceland, And this really inspired me of knitting a Sycamore sweater that was inspired by the colors of the skies in Iceland and a little bit of Aurora Borealis. So I just curiously knit. I think I finished it in 2 weeks, but keep in mind that I don't need that much. I am very mindful of taking breaks. I could have finished it in 4 or 5 days. A very quick knit. The gauge is quite thick. I would say like worsted. I'd knit this with 5.5 millimeter needles. The lobby can be a little bit tricky, I would say, since it's a little bit thick thin, but I tried and knit this at a slightly looser gauge than recommended, mostly because I didn't want this to be like too structured, and also I was quite confident that it was gonna bloom quite a bit and get a little bit fluffy with use, so I thought I would just prefer to have it just a little bit looser. And you can see I've knit this with 5.5, and you see it's very, very dense and beautiful. I've washed it one time. I finished it, I would say like 2 weeks ago, and I worn this 10 or 11 times. So I think this is a testament on how much I love this. It's very warm and cozy and beautiful. And to be completely honest with you, I wasn't really expecting that. I thought it was gonna be like a very beautiful knit to, I don't know, wear it on more special occasion and be a little bit more delicate with it. I've been wearing it non-stop inside the house. It's very easy to throw on. It doesn't give you as much of a positive ease as some other more trendy patterns from Petite Knit. Even this one has a less positive ease that's recommended by the designer. But yeah, this one is just like a big, I would say like a big sweatshirt, but you can fit it under like coats. I've been living in this, you know, working from home, putting some sneakers, get my coat on, go for a short walk, get inside. I think I found this so easy to wear, partially because this is a very nicely shaped armhole that gives you a little bit more freedom than something like this, or something that is even wider as well. The sleeves I've knit very long because I like having very, very long sleeves. You know, I work from home, mostly drawing on working on the computer, so I actually love having something that's almost covers my whole hand to stay warm. It's a little bit longer, and you can see it's definitely like, I would say, coochie length for me, which is not something that I usually go for. I don't know, it's just so easy. I just throw it on with over some like the gym leggings, and it looks beautiful. Construction wise, it's a top down, quite standard. You shape the back of the neck with increases, then you knit the fronts, joining the round. You start the design with this lovely technique of Japanese short rows. I've never used this technique, but I thought it was brilliant, and I love the result of it. You just honestly can't even see when you've been turning your yarn and all that. But of course, you can just knit this sweater without this very peculiar design, but that was what was drawing me in about this pattern. It wasn't particularly difficult. You definitely have to pay attention and follow every line of the pattern and do exactly as the pattern says. But if you do that, you'll be fine. Be mindful of the stitch markers that mark, you know, the front and the back, the beginning of round, and you know, the stitch markers that you use for the Japanese short rows. So use different colors to help yourself not get confused. And I have to tell you, I knit, I think this entire chunk of the sweater in one day while binging Arcane Season 2. And if you've seen that, first of all, are you okay? I don't know, hug your loved one, hug your pets. I am still not over that. Anyway, yeah, so once you get past the first wedge, it's quite smooth sailing. Then you do all of your ribbing at the back, and I think it's quite interesting to have so many pages and details for the body and all that. And when you come to the sleeves, you're like, hey, pick up the stitches. There are no short rows on the sleeves, so try and match them as best as you can. Good luck and bye-bye. I thought it was a little bit weird. So we've tackled construction. Regarding the yarn, as I said, for the main color, I used Levitate. I'll leave the colorway number on the description. But this is a black with all of different fibers in this like dual tone colors. And one thing that I was surprised about Levitate, and I can personally confirm that to you, is that yes, it feels very dry and rough, but I don't find it itchy. I can wear it around my neck with no issues, which is quite fascinating. I'm not sure if I'm not as sensitive as I think I am, or just I'm driving quite well with Icelandic wool. I'm not really sure, but I'm enjoying it a lot. And I think with the fact that it feels a little bit rough and rustic, I don't feel I have to be too precious with it. Of course, this is quite new, but has been fairly worn and has no signs of wear whatsoever. This won't definitely be my last time knitting with Levitate. You're very, very warm inside of these types of garments, which, I don't know, go figure, Icelandic wool. To me, very, very warm winter garments is great since I work from home, I sail a lot, and this house is very cold. So this has been a lifesaver, but you have to be a little bit mindful if you run a little bit hot or you have heating that works properly. You might find this type of fabric to be too warm for you. I actually used 2 different strands of a sock yarn and then various scraps of mohair. So the base is the same between all of these 3 different stripes, but the mohair is different. So that's why it gives this a little bit different colors, but it's only the mohair that changes between the 3 stripes. I have used a lot of scraps for these stripes, so definitely I think that is something that you can just go around and stash bust. I forgot to mention I've knit both this and this other sweater in the size L, which is technically not the size that I should knit at according to Petite Knit, but I don't care. Okay, so I think I have to wrap this up since I'm losing all of the natural lighting here. These are the things that have stayed in my wardrobe that I have been wearing a lot, that I can attest for the quality of the yarn and the construction and how much I've been enjoying wearing them. My goal for next year is get rid of all of my UFOs and maybe also make a little bit of a project graveyard video. Let me know if you might be interested in that. I hope the holidays haven't been too hard on you. Can be a little bit of a challenging time for a lot of us. The New Year's as well. Yeah, just please be safe, enjoy yourself, don't drink and drive. Thank you so much again for hearing me ramble about knitting and enjoying all of the silly things that I have to say. Thank you again. See you soon, I hope. And be safe. Bye bye.